Back when I was 12 years old, I came across a controversial topic, a topic that has never been concluded until today. Let me show you a picture. This is a picture of a tornado in Texas. Now, I want to ask you a question. What do you think is the cause of a tornado? Think about it. Some might say it's because of storm, climate change, or the weather. Or some might also say that maybe it's just a natural disaster. But there could be many other reasons. But what if I told you that this tornado in Texas was actually caused by a little butterfly in Brazil that happens to flap its wings? How in the world is this possible? Your facial expressions right now was also my reaction too. And little did I know that they have a term for this. It's called the butterfly effect. How small, trivial things can eventually create into big consequences. This is just mind-blowing to me. Logically thinking, this is simply irrational. Do you really think that a butterfly flap can cause a whole tornado all the way to another side of the country? Personally, to be completely honest with you guys, I don't think so. This is just beyond belief and silly. And if you say it's a metaphor, well, it's simply an irrational metaphor. Now, some of you may or may not agree with me because anyways, I'm just a 15-year-old student. But let me tell you what I do know as a 15-year-old. I know for a fact that I am highly influenced by my friends. And I'm not surprised if most of you in this room are too. Teenagers are known for following and adapting to their surroundings to fit in. And one simple act that someone does can create a whole trend for a group of teenagers. I mean, something as simple as mood. If your friends are happy, won't you be happy? I believe that this won't apply only to teenagers, but to everyone, including adults. A research done at Harvard University on a social network of 12,000 people, that's a social network, by the way, with real friends, not including the Facebook one. They tracked and measured how individuals can respond to changes in their social surroundings. Now, based on their research, if a close friend of yours feels depressed or sad for any possible reason, the likelihood that your mood will be affected will increase negatively by 93%. And this goes both ways. When you're surrounded by loving, happy, close friends, it increases your likelihood by 63%. Now, this was shocking to me because I didn't know how our emotions are really highly dependable on other people's mood. Small action creates an impact. Now, let me share with you a personal experience. After a long holiday, last week was my first day of school. I just came back from a 7-hour flight the night before, and I was insanely jet lagged, insanely sleepy, and the idea of going back to school was just dreading me. Not only that, I had a lot of things to prepare for, unfinished homework, projects, and including this TEDx event. But obviously, as a 15-year-old, I had no other choice. I still have to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and bring myself to go to school even if I had no energy left in my system. I'm sure you know the feeling of trying to open your eyes or even bring ourselves to complete a simple walk to your classrooms. That day, I was prepared that this would be my energy for the rest of the day. Tired, sleepy, lazy. Until I saw my friend, my best friend who was looking at me as her face lit up and her radiant smile. Now, I can't help but to smile back. So, obviously, I smiled back. Then another of my friend was waving at me and also smiling back at me. So, human decency, I smiled back at her. Then another friend came, and another friend came, and eventually, subconsciously, I began to smile to a lot of people already. Now, just from a single smile coming from a few of my friends, as cliche as it might sound, what started with a thought of going to an overwhelming day eventually became a day that I actually really enjoyed. And because of that, I get to spend a day with a positive attitude to finish all my homeworks, projects, and prepare for this task. Small action creates an impact. However, that same situation can also work the other way around. Not only does human can spread positive energy, but they also can spread negative energy. Let me give you an example. Have you ever had that grumpy teacher or that grumpy boss at school? That is one thing that I hate the most. Imagine having a normal day, a neutral day, and suddenly you have to go and deal with someone who woke up on the wrong side of bed. Now, personally, that would instantly change my mood. They would usually complain about everything I said, blame me on everything, and I will eventually get tired of doing anything that day. You will see me walking out of that room back into zero energy to complete that day. I know it is not just me when I say that every time we meet someone in a bad mood, it wouldn't take too much long for it to affect ours. Just as simple as that. This is a picture of me and my mom, and I want you to remember this picture and take a good look. Yes, this is a picture of me and my mom on my first day of school. And one of the things I admire most about her is her wisdom and her infinite life lessons. I will always remember what she tells me in every first days of school. Vern, remember that every day is an opportunity to sow things. Make sure you sow opportunity in something good and meaningful, because eventually it all comes back to you. Now, obviously, in that age, do you really think I understand whatever she just said? I had no clue on what's going on. But as I grew older, I began to understand the concept more and more. Every day we interact with different people. Firstly, our families, like our parents and siblings. Then our teachers and friends at school. Then it comes to society, like people who you interact with on your way of school or on your way to your workplace, and even the people that we interact with on social media. Some of these are in our close circles. Then there are those in our wider circle, those in our bigger circles, outside our groups, outside our cliques, outside our community. And then there are like strangers you see on the mall. To us, it seems like there's a simple choice to be made. And yes, we always do have a choice. Keep reminding yourself that every interaction you make is actually an opportunity to spread positive contagion. I mean, think about it. A simple act of kindness has a potential to ripple outwards, not only to your friends, but also to their friends, their family, their community. Let's just say you have 10 friends, those of them that you're close to at school. And each of those 10 friends have another 10 friends. Now, if you spread a positive contagion that day, you're basically already affecting 100 people. If we see it like that, you begin to realize how we are every day at our lives. Being at school or work does really make a difference. Now, let me ask you, what kind of ripple do you want to make today? A positive one or a negative one? Have you heard the saying of what you give will come back to you in the end? If that case were real, I know I wouldn't want to be a negative energy. I mean, why would any of us choose to be a negative ripple? In the busy, pressured working environment that many of us find ourselves these days, it's sometimes easy to fire off an angry email, argue with your friend. And sometimes that is okay, because we're all human and people make mistakes. But I want you to consider that every interaction you take, may it be face-to-face, online, on your phone, on email, or even on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, everything has an effect. So think about the ripples you're making today. They are not just affecting those who you are interacting with, but also their friends, their community, and their family. Small action creates an impact. So now you might be wondering, Alvernia, saying this wouldn't change my mind. A butterfly flap will still not create a tornado. Well, I had the same thought with each and every one of you, but something changed. Now I'm going to tell you a short story. A true story that I experienced myself. This changed my mind, and I hope that this will change yours too. It started 6 months ago, June 12, 2023. Last summer, I was interning for a startup called Titipko. Here's a picture of me with the CEO, Pa Henry, and the CFO, Pa Ong. In that 1 month period analyzing the finance and marketing, I realized how fast this company grew. Fortunately, I got the opportunity to work closer with them and the team and make valuable lessons from him. Okay, skipping 3 days after this internship, I came to find out something that actually made me speechless. Wait, speechless might not be the right word. That's an understatement. I found out more about my CEO's background story, how back when he was younger, he had always been inspired by successful people. I mean, we all do. But something that I found really, really amusing is how confident and bold he was to take action. About 10 years ago, Pa Henry emailed one of his role models asking for an interview. At that time, he was still a university student studying at Universitas Gadjah Mada, Yogyakarta. So, for a little context, his role model is an Indonesian woman who was originally in huge debt due to the 1998 crisis and had to separate with her family and survive in Singapore with less than just $10 a week. But her perseverance led her to earn her first $1 million at just the age of 26. Okay, so back to the story. A few days after the email was sent, his role model finally answered and allowed him for a 10-minute interview. That young Henry then traveled all the way from Yogyakarta to Jakarta just to meet this amazing lady. She taught him tips on starting a business, shared her experience, and even shared a few motivational insights. Basically, this young, teachable Henry just made the most out of this 10 minutes. But little did she know that those 10 minutes would change his life. At this point of the story, I vaguely knew who she was, but I wasn't really sure until I saw a picture of him with his role model. This is the picture. Does this person look familiar to you? Try remembering what you have seen in the past few minutes. Exactly. This person is my mom, Mary Riana. How is it possible? I simply couldn't comprehend how my mom was a factor in his inspiration on starting the company. My mom was the role model that made him start his entrepreneurial journey. And what just started with a 10-minute of her teaching him ended up with him teaching me 10 years later. I never expected how coincidental it was for the CEO of the company that I was interning at got inspired to start his entrepreneurial journey from the interview he had with my mom. This is just truly mind-blowing. It made me realize that everything that we do, no matter how long, how short it is, how big or how small it is, simply 10 minutes of your life still matters to other people. I like to believe that small is the new big. How one small act can eventually create a big impact. Remember when I shared to you my first day of school and how that smile that my friend gave me made me more positive? Now, because of that, I get to complete my task well and including to prepare for this speech. I am grateful to stand here on this stage to share and deliver an important message to all of you today. I strongly believe that this wouldn't end here. To each and every one of you who are currently listening, now you are aware that every interaction you make matters. And just by doing small things to people around you every day, then a simple message that I share today is on its way on creating something big. So, perhaps a butterfly flap in Brazil might lead to a tornado in Texas. Because although we might not be able to see it, I believe that over time, sowing meaningful action leads to legacy. And that is why I think that small is the new big. My name is Alvernia Liu, and thank you.